were in Easter. Jesus wept, so he also had to weep.
He had to weep. I mean, he had to weep. It was Easter. But I think that he was overwhelmed by the enormity of the destruction. Now, if you appreciate what is happening to our natural resources, I mean, you understand why there is a movement, a global movement, towards making environmental crimes against humanity. The lush fauna and greenery of the forest is going. You understand, if you understand why Atiwa was declared a globally significant biodiversity area, you understand why its destruction is a concern to all of us. If you understand why the people in the Amazon forest are prepared to risk their lives and fight off investors, you understand what the forest does to us. I mean, if the environment is destroyed, we are also gone. I mean, I've read Gerard Diamond's book, The World Until Yesterday. And you appreciate that the desert, where we now call the desert, was so many years ago a forested area. It became a desert because of human activity. And now they have to live in that harsh environment without water. So what we are doing to our environment can also lead to what has happened in the desert. But in mining, just as in the utilization of natural resources, there's an inherent rule or principle that ought to be obeyed and respected by the present generation, as it was obeyed and respected by the past generation. Intergenerational equity. That when you mine our environment, you must mine it in such a way as not to compromise the ability of future generations to continue to live on the environment. Because if we do that, if we mine it with reckless disregard to how future generations will live on that environment, we are committing a crime against them. And that's why all of us need to understand that if we look at the level of destruction that is visiting this country because of our recklessness, then you are asking, what are we doing? Where are we leading the future generations to? They might not even be able to provide for their own sustenance. Now, almost all the water bodies, and your reporter was showing the water bodies, and he said they were brown. They are dying. They can't sustain life, aquatic life, because of the hazardous substances introduced into the water bodies. Do you know the number of patients that suffer from kidney diseases who report to the Kulibu Hospital, which hospital and the cardiothoracic center, what is the name of that center, has been facing financial difficulties because we have not been able to provide dialysis for them. If the number increases, can you imagine what that will mean? Just about 100,000, and we are suffering. Now there's an increase in the number of people suffering from kidney diseases, directly linked to our activities of galamseyers. Women have to bring forth children deformed.
So as for the problems, we know the problems. We have known the problems for a while now. And in opposition, you gave us very firm promise, including repealing the law that allows for mining in forest reserves, which was passed in 2022 and led to, certain people going in there.
Yeah.
Is there solutions?
So the law is going to be repealed.
Is it?
Yes, it will be repealed. I mean, I think that it's a matter of moral integrity on the part of the president. He has said, I will repeal the law.
So now you have changed from amendment to...
The law is going to be repealed.
Okay.
And Sami Jamfi said that 2 days ago. It's going to be repealed. LI 2462 will be repealed.
Beyond repealing that, you joined us in the crusade for a state of emergency on our water bodies and also in our forest reserve. Actually, the Pope that is being buried today, Pope Francis,
yes,
he was very heavy on the matter of ecocide.
Yes.
We had the Metropolitan Archbishop, Bonaventure Kofi, actually also rallying Catholics, and we went on a demonstration about these things, calling for the state of emergency to be declared.
I joined you even in studio, and that's why I was from the studio when I heard that my brother and the Democratic Hub people had been arrested.
Right.
I moved straight to there with a second thought. And that led to the establishment of the Protest Legal, a group that offers free services to those who engage in civil action. Because we need to protect the environment. And I joined you in saying that we should call for a state of emergency, because that will allow us not only to deal with those who are presently on the land, but also those who have even acquired permits legally. Because when you declare a state of emergency, you freeze all rights. So the accrued rights will be frozen. And then you can go into the forest to deal with the people who are there.
So when will the state of emergency happen?
That is why we are bringing the president's attention to the fact that, look, what we promise the people, we should go by it. In fact, if there's anything that will affect us as a government more in this time of John Dramani Mahama, will be our ability or inability to fight illegal small-scale mining.
He should declare the state of emergency on our water bodies and
on the forest areas.
Forest reserves.
Okay. Should be no-go area.
Okay. Then the demonstration may not become necessary anymore. Why doesn't he do it just today? Yes.